My name is Ming So, founder-director of Blend. Welcome to our new series of video interviews on languages and literacies. I'm delighted to introduce Ken Millins as our first interviewee. Ken Millins, CBE, former HMI and principal of Edge Hill College, now university, has taken up Spanish at the age of 96 years old. He already has French and German, as well as some Norwegian. I've known him for more than 30 years. You may like to share why you decided on Spanish at this stage of your life?
What about French?
Well, Spanish is just a bit of icing on the cake. I have very little opportunity to speak it, and I learn it in a desultory fashion. It gives me pleasure, stimulates my mind, and that's the main purpose of it, really. Not to achieve a level of Spanish, which I'm not going to do, but it's a general stimulation.
Well, and this is very, very interesting because you mentioned stimulation.
Yeah.
And you're already, with your knowledge of French and German, and do you think that in some ways prepare you for learning Spanish?
Well, Spanish is an interesting language, and I regret I'm learning it too late, very late in life, to achieve any reasonable proficiency.
I wouldn't say too late. I would simply say that this is a new beginning. Yes, proficiency aside, what you really feel is the stimulation going into a new mindset.
Yes.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
That's the main purpose of it.
Yes. And also, as I understand it, you are also very interested in Spanish grammar.
Yes.
And that again provides a very serious perspective.
Yes.
It's not just learning tourist language.
No.
So it's a sort of a deep learning of a language. You mentioned that the proficiency level which you would like to achieve, but that's not really the main purpose.
No.
No. Yeah, exactly. So the main purpose is really the stimulation entering into a new field.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't want to feed words into your mouth, Ken. You mentioned stimulation. Did you encounter any particular difficulties now at your age learning Spanish as compared with your younger self?
Well, the mind is less retentive and slower to acquire. If you manage those two things up, it's a function of age, old age.
Yeah. But on the other hand, you may need to go over it again and again.
Yeah.
And that is always a strategy in learning any language,
Yes, right.
at any age.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. And what I was wondering too is why did you choose another language, Spanish, let's say, instead of philosophy or any other subject? Because I recall all the conversations we have, and you have touched on so many areas of interest.
Yeah.
So why Spanish? Why not philosophy?
Well, no, philosophy as well. I mean, that's a different area, as you know. Area of learning and thinking about the world. Spanish is quite much more focused on a particular subject aspect.
Mm-hmm. I think that again is a very interesting word you've used, focus.
Yeah.
And that focusing also helps you with your memory and recall.
Yes.
And all these other strategies.
Right.
So the choice of Spanish is, in a way, pretty self-evident to you. to yourself. And what about motivation? You did say that it takes longer time now to recall, etc. But what about what motivates you? What keeps you going to Spanish every day?
I wouldn't say I go into Spanish every day, but I'm motivated by just interested in the world, which is much wider, as you know. And being surrounded by good friends here who keep me up to the mark. My wife and my carer there. A formidable combination, if I may say so.
Yes, that's an additional stimulant in that sense.
Now, I noticed, Ming, you've not mentioned Norwegian.
Yes.
Norwegian has played a large part in my life.
Oh, right. Why not Norwegian then?
Well, I was in Norway at the end of the war, in charge of a intelligence unit for the Supreme Headquarters LA Command. And so I had to learn Norwegian. And I can still speak a certain amount.
How did you find that experience? It was work focused.
Oh yes.
It had a purpose.
Entirely.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you still recall some of the Norwegian you've learned?
Yeah. Jeg har ikke glemt mit norsk. I haven't forgot my Norwegian.
That's really. In learning Spanish, you may not have the same opportunities to use Spanish
No.
yeah, but it is the actual process of learning which makes it so motivating and interesting.
Now, if you were Spanish, that would give me a motivation.
Yes.
So start to learn Spanish, please.
Yes. That would be good. We can have our next interview in Spanish. Would you recommend this initiative of yours, learning at a pretty late stage of your life?
Absolutely.
To anybody?
I mean, the learning per se is less important than the stimulation it gets you to keep alive and interested in things around you. Much more important. So it's the effort and not necessarily the achievement.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. May I just ask another question? You mentioned Norwegian.
Yes.
Have you ever thought about learning an entirely different language from a different language family group, such as Arabic, such as Chinese?
Not really. I've got to have some purpose behind it. I haven't got any purpose in learning Arabic.
Yes.
I have no Arabic friends. You don't speak Arabic?
Yes, I think it's the purpose behind it and how it relates to your own experiences in the past as well as the present.
Yeah. So I wouldn't like to underestimate the importance of modern languages in my life. They saved my life, as you know.
That's a very interesting comment. Would you like to elaborate a bit on that?
My friends in the corner there have heard this ad nauseam, my wife, but I was due to go on D-Day, and somebody in the War Office discovered I had German, and they pulled me out from D-Day, and my friends that I was shady with all died, and I was put in the intelligence corps because of knowledge of German, and that saved my life.
That was a narrow escape.
Yes.
Very much so.
I don't know why someone in the Foreign Office went through by my record. No idea.
Well, what messages would you like to send to all potentially interested learners of languages of all age groups?
At my age group.
All age group, especially yours.
It's for stimulation. isn't necessary for the level of achievement, but the process of stimulation is what is all important to me, anyhow.
Would you like to? Are there any other messages you would like to give to the audience?
Well, I mean, if you're looking at the stimulation, the modern languages play an important part in that stimulation.
The brain working.
Well,
The brain
it's
working.
not only just keeping the little grey cells working, but it enhances the grey cells.
I think so, yes.
Because there has been recent research on elderly people learning languages, new languages, and how it really facilitates their recall, their memory, and also their interest in other things around them.
I agree with all that for 100%.